Hello and welcome into another edition of Sitting Down with Sgar. I'm the football voice of the Hoyas, Jeremy Huber, joined by Georgetown head coach Rob Scarlatta. Rob, we've seen each other over the summer, so it's not the first time, but it's good to see you in virtual form. How you been?
Doing well, doing well. Getting trying to put the finishing touches on prep and having a good week so far.
Yeah, as you guys get ready for Davidson, before we get into the Wildcats and the team this year, I think we've got to ask you. This is your 35th year, maybe 36, depending on how you count it, as a member of the Hoya football family. Over a decade as the head coach. What has changed, and what's kind of the same for you when it comes to being a Hoya?
That's a really good question. You throw those years at me, and I kind of think about it and go, "Wow!" So, over 3 decades here, and the one constant's been the people. I'm really blessed this year. Have a great coaching staff as well as close to 30 seniors and fifth-year players for us. So those things have been consistent. We always say that people make the place, and that's very, very true, especially with this group. Top to bottom.
Rob, the biggest story of the offseason, I think, was the changes in the Patriot League. Obviously, Richmond coming aboard this year, Villanova, William and Mary coming next year. How do you think that affects the league and your program?
Yeah, it raises the bar. Those are some of the premier programs at our level, and we're looking forward to the competition. The Patriot League has always had a lot of parity, a lot of people that are in the race, and now you've added three of the top teams at our level. So, for us, we're going to try to keep pushing the boundaries on the talent that we're able to bring here to the Hilltop. It's a very attractive place between the academic and athletic offerings that we have. So, for us, I know it's going to be a challenge, and it's something that is already been impactful for us in recruiting, saying that, you want to come here and get a world-class education and play against the best at our level. So, very excited for, our first league game with Richmond, and then have the addition of William Mary and Villanova, coming up.
Rob, let's get into this year's group of Hoyas. Kind of give me your general thoughts on how camp went and what's always important for your squad, the health of this team.
Yeah, it's been a very, as you've been here a little bit, it's been a really competitive camp. There's a lot of rooms where, we're even watching today's film to say, hey, this guy's going to get these reps tomorrow, and this is who we think will start this weekend in the opener. So extremely competitive camp. It's a very interesting team. We have about 30 newcomers and 30 fifth-year and seniors, and then the rest in the middle. So, it's been great to see our experienced players really help onboard our younger players. And it's been, like I said, very, very competitive in a lot of spots.
Rob, I think two guys really important in that cause. Obviously, the coaching staff can do so much, but having two good co-captains in Jimmy Kibble, Giancarlo Rufo, have kind of bought into what you want to build as a program, and also kind of having a program where freshmen have voices, feel like they can be heard as well. Can you talk about the way Jimmy and Giancarlo have functioned as the on-field leaders of this team?
Yeah, you're always looking for people that have bought in from day one. It's great that they're really competitive and great players in our conference. It's even better that they're leaders, in the classroom. Both had major internships this year with, great opportunities for them. So to see their success and just their work ethic, and to have, when your best players are your hardest workers, it sets a great example for everybody within the program, coaching staff, all the way down to our freshmen and transfers that have just joined our family.
Rob, we'll start with Jimmy's side of the ball, the offense, maybe the most experience you've brought back in your tenure. Can you talk to that point of how much experience comes back and how much talent is coming back for you guys?
Yeah, everything starts up front. For our offensive line, we're very blessed. We have one fifth-year, three seniors, and a junior, and that was something that we really worked on throughout the offseason, was to develop those guys up front, as well as, make sure that we have depth there, through the sophomore and freshman classes that we brought in. So, everything starts up front with being able to protect the quarterback and, of course, being able to run the football. So they've had a really good camp, just like everybody else in the country, trying to keep all those guys healthy, and get them to the opener this weekend.
Rob, let's switch over to Mr. Rufo's side of the ball defensively. It's an interesting year for the Hoya defense, as you have a lot of experience and playmakers up top, Rufo as well as Cooper Blumstrom. You're a little young for the first time in a long time in the secondary. Have you kind of tried to put that thing together there?
Yeah, it's a great question. I should put you on with Coach Dory and Coach Perkey on the defensive side. I think it is a mix. We have a lot of experience up front. Our front seven will be solid. Some players that you've seen play before, and Braylon Wise is the mainstay in the back. He's played every position back there. He's a great leader, leads by example, and has done a great job onboarding our younger players. So, I think throughout the season you'll see a mix of sophomores and freshmen play a lot. And with that comes, getting the most talented guys on the field, but also probably some growing pains. It's also really great to have Quincy Briggs coming back with a lot of experience at corner, and he's the ultimate competitor. So, that room has been fun to watch those guys develop. I think it'll be a fluid situation throughout the season, and it'll be fun to see those guys come out and cut their teeth.
Rob, you're getting to be a media professional. You did the perfect segue. Quincy had such a good game last year, the touchdown against Davidson. That's the opener. It's a different Wildcat team this year. Saj Thakar coming from Bentley. He takes over for Scott Abel, who ended up going to Rice. Before we get into the Wildcats themselves, let me ask you this. Is it tough to take on a brand new staff at an opener where you're not really sure what you might be seeing?
Yeah, it's unfortunately or fortunately, we've done this a bunch of times. You have some new opponents that we've played. You also have the Ivy League teams that don't start for a couple weeks. So, Coach did a great job at Bentley. We know their staff pretty well. Some of their stops at Richmond and Harvard, and some great programs. They do a great job coaching. So this is the ultimate worry about yourself game. For us, it still comes down to the three things we talk about every day. Taking care of the football, creating explosives, preventing them, making tackles, and making people miss. So, it's one of those things as a head coach, it kind of validates what you're doing coming out of camp. Just saying, hey, play our brand of football and make sure when things start happening in the game that we'll respond, not react, and come to the sideline and, communicate, make sure that we can fix some of the things if there's issues, and just keep playing hard.
And Rob, not to put you on the spot, but I know that you have seen these guys before. Any players on their side of things that are really guys you have to focus on? Or like you said, is it just hey, we got to do our thing and adjust?
Yeah, I think, last year, we were able to play well and turn them over a couple times. And every time we play Davidson, it's a competitive game. So I know this. They'll be well coached. They'll play hard. And it'll be, an extremely physical football game. So, for us, we're really worried about Georgetown, and like I said, we are really focused on figuring out who we are, what our identity is, and making sure that we're taking care of the things that we can control.
Well, Rob, let's flip it over to our first Sitting Down with Sgar spotlight of the year, and it's a good one as we check in with the 2025 Joe Ekabachi jersey recipient, Matthew Plunkett. Matt, thank you for taking some time today.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me on. I'm really excited.
I think Coach Sgar was prescient. He had me talk to you, I think, twice already this year, so we're a little familiar with each other. I've asked you this before, but what does the chance to wear 35 mean to you?
Yeah, for sure. And I know I've answered this a couple of times before, so I'll try to give a little nuanced answer, but really, really proud. I mean, words can't really describe the feeling when Coach Sgar said my name. It was kind of a rush of emotion. Didn't want to get emotional in front of my teammates and my boys, but really blessed to be honored with joining this tradition. And all I want to do is honor Joe and his family, along with like the previous 35s that have come before me. So I know there's a really high standard and a high bar, and I feel really good about meeting it. So I'm just blessed.
Obviously, this isn't why you do it to get that adulation, but Coach Sgar, we had the clip of him announcing it, and then the yell from your teammates, the applause. Again, it's almost not like a football game where there's that build if you make a big play, and you're kind of not even focused on that. To go from not really knowing and then to have your teammates explode like that in your honor, how did that feel?
Yeah, that was amazing. It was really funny. Ahead of that meeting, we were sitting down, and some of my younger teammates, like freshmen and sophomore defensive linemen, were like, "Hey, do you think you're going to get it?" I was like, "I don't think so. I think I get a text this morning, maybe prepare a few words, or know ahead of time, so I'm not surprised." And really, he said my name, and everybody shut up, and I kind of sat there for a second, like watching my life from like an outside lens, like, is this actually happening right now? And then going down there and everybody's standing, I was like, really overcome with the love from my brother. So that was like actually amazing. In that video, it's gonna be cherished by myself and my parents for a long time.
Coach, let's flip it over to you. You've been a guy that's been in the middle of this honoring Joe since it started at Georgetown. What are some of the qualities that Matt exudes that make him the right man for this honor?
Yeah, we've talked a lot about our class and the seniors, and Matt in a group of very exceptional people, with the 29 seniors and fifth years. What stands out to me about Matt is his genuine care, and he mentioned a couple times the guys that are his brothers. He represents the fellowship and the care for others that we really talk about in our program. And on top of being a really good football player, he's bought in since day one. He's really put the attention on the little things and has bought into what the program really stands for on and off the field. So, to see the reaction from his teammates for me was amazing. As well as, Tommy Kabachi, Joe's older brother, was on the call and had a chance to speak with Matt right afterwards with his sons, which I thought was really special. And, we had about, I think, 12 former 35s on the call just to congratulate Matt, and really just shows, what that brotherhood and those leaders mean to us, and just, what a fraternity of service that is that Matt has done and will continue to bring that tradition along this year.
Matt, not to date myself at all, but I played at the same college that Coach Parton, your offensive line coach, played at. And it's a long-time school where we would play a rival, and a lot of people would reach out that week and talk about, hey, just go do well, that type of thing. How does it feel with those people, the former 35s, other Georgetown alums, maybe guys that played with Joe reaching out to you? How did that feel to feel the love from them?
Yeah, that was amazing. I didn't expect afterwards to speak with, Joe's family along with the former 35s. And that may have been my favorite part of that day. I just got so much, like you were saying, overwhelming love and support, and just off the get-go, guys saying, hey, we know you're going to do a great job. You don't have to change anything you're doing. Just keep being yourself. And that was really that support meant a lot, because I know that it's kind of, new ground for me with this award. And then guys reaching out online has been amazing too, just a constant stream of love and congratulations, and just, hey, if you need anything, reach out to me, which is just a constant that I've seen here at Georgetown with our alumni.
Matt, last one for you. You're in a spot where you're coming back from an injury that cost you most of last season. Let's get back to the on-field part of this. How excited are you to get back on the field and play this sport you love?
Yeah, I'm so excited. I mean, it was my first play in our first game last year, actually against the Wildcats, where I went down. So it's been a while since I've got to be out there on game day with my boys. I surely got tired of sitting there watching everybody. So I'm really excited to just get out there and make plays and do my job, as Coach D would say, and help contribute to some more Georgetown wins and do it with my best friends.
Well, Matt, we know you're going to do a great job. Congratulations once again, and thank you for taking some time today.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
That's Matt Plunkett. Coach Scarlotta, any message to the Hoya fans heading into this first game of the season?
Yeah, it's just amazing. We have a great contingent that's coming down to North Carolina for us, and then we return back here to the Hilltop for back-to-back games against Wagner and Lafayette. So one is thank you to all the alums that have come through. We've had a number of speakers in preseason camp, and really looking forward to seeing everybody in different parts of the country. So looking forward to the season, and really excited to get tomorrow's practice in the books and travel down to Carolina on Friday.
Well, safe travels, Coach, and good luck down in the Carolinas. That'll wrap it up for another edition of Sitting Down with Scar. Remember, Georgetown at Davidson on Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern kick. And you can see it in person if you're in the Carolinas, or watch online on ESPN+. Thanks again to Coach Scarlotta again. Rob, good luck this weekend.
Thanks very much. Appreciate you.
Also, thanks to 2025 Joe Akabachi jersey recipient Matthew Plunkett and our producer Eliza Kravitz. That's all for this edition of Sitting Down with Scar. I'm Jeremy Huber and Hoya Saxa.